Okay, good afternoon, good day. Welcome to the show. Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome back. Week 2, we're kicking it in. The vibes are Christmassy. Luigi Mangioni's Goodreads profile has been released. The drones over New Jersey still haven't been addressed. It's just nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. Let's keep it moving. I love it. Good stuff. And first and foremost, I'd like to address my friend Jordan. I know he's probably out there listening. He said I didn't sound too interested in some of the topics I did in week 1 last week. So I just wanted to open this part up by saying I love every topic that I talk about. I wouldn't bring it up if I didn't feel something when I read the headline. Now, I'm not studying for the show. I'm not preparing anything. I'm not trying to set something up and, have a fun. No, this is all free ball. This is all spitballed. I'm picking some stories I like. They seem interesting off the headline. They might not be interesting when I get into them. But this week we've got some great ones. I promise we will not disappoint. So don't worry. Stay tuned and get in. Get in your house, get in your car, get in whatever you're about to listen to this in. So, first of all, I'd like to open up the Christmas episode with some Christmas stories. Okay, I've been trying to put together remember some of the best, some of my favorite, and maybe just some noteworthy Christmas stories I've had throughout the years, right? The first Christmas I can even remember. I think I might have been either 3 or 4 years old. And I remember at some point during that year, during the summer or spring, we bought a pig. In Romania, every summer, at least back then, especially if you don't live in the city, you buy a pig. Now, you buy a pig so you can fatten it up for 6 to 12 months, and then you kill it on Christmas or right around Christmas. So on Christmas Day, you have a feast. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So I had named the pig. I thought we had a pet pig. I was young. Nobody told me, hey, be careful. I mean, I'm sure the parents were probably telling me like, don't, But I didn't take it seriously. I didn't think about it. I probably didn't even know what they were talking about when they were saying it was going to die. I forget what I named the pig. But I remember coming out to the cage every day. Not the cage. We kept it in the chicken pen. The pigs didn't eat the chickens, and the chickens didn't bother the pigs. So house them together, raise them nice. And on Christmas morning of that year, I woke up, went outside, and I see my uncle and my dad hog-tying my pig, dragging it into the yard with about 3 or 4 other local village men, hog-tying it, and my uncle cutting a square probably about 1 inch by 1 inch thick out of my pig's neck, out of which he bled out, because you're supposed to let all of the blood drain from the pig because you don't want the blood to start getting messy when you're cutting the pig open and trying to clean and gut the pig, I think. I freaked out, like any child should. Maybe not, like a Mongolian warlord's child or something, but I ran inside, I cried, I hid under a table, or I think I was under my bed at first, crying. I fell asleep, and my dad came and woke me up at some point. And he slowly babied me out. I was not having it. I told him, "You killed my friend. How dare you?" What the fuck? And eventually, I was tired of crying, I imagine. I got babied out to the kitchen where I would refuse to face anybody. I could not speak to anybody at that point. Everybody was laughing. They were all looking at me like some sort of dumbass for growing emotionally attached to this pig that inevitably was going to get eaten. And the food smelled really good. What could I say? I hadn't eaten that day. I was on a lot of medicine as a child. I was on prednisone, a steroid, as a 3-4-year-old. So my stomach was a lot stronger than my brain at the time. And my dad gave me a piece of bacon. I took a bite. I liked it. He laughed. And so I came out from under the table and had to work through my worst feelings and eat with the rest of the family. Personally, I had fun. Looking back on it, it's funny to me. It's pretty dramatic how over the top I was about it. But also, it's like if somebody killed an 8-year dog to me at the time. I was not having it. I didn't understand the difference between, these animals we eat, these animals are our friends, and we treat with great respect, unless we're in a South Asian country. But I got over it eventually. And to this day, I just look on it fondly. I remember it as, probably my last Christmas in Romania, I think. And definitely the last time we bought a pig as a family and had it killed for Christmas. And that was great to me. I have no qualms about it now. I don't know if I would volunteer to be the man to cut the pig if I were in the position today that my uncle was in. But it was a good time overall, It's what you do in a village setting. 300 years ago, it would have seemed very weird if I was crying on that day because nobody could buy meat from anywhere else. I had understood that we had pig. My dad would go to the store. He'd come back with pork chops and stuff. But I guess I didn't really put it together until that Christmas. So yeah, it happened. Moving on. One time, my grandma had come from Romania and stayed with us for a few months. Christmas was coming, so I figured I should keep it festive, What is Grandma like? I asked her what are her favorite songs, what are things that reminded her of Christmas as a child and the 40s and 50s in Romania. She tried to make a joke and said the Americans carpet bombing us. She said, during Christmas even, we used to all just have to keep all the blinds shut and turn off all the lights. We would cook and eat by candlelight because we were afraid the Americans were going to bomb us. And they did. Not on Christmas Day, I don't think. But there was a few times it came close. It didn't hit my grandma's house, luckily. But it wasn't too far off either. So that night, that Christmas she was there, we were going to midnight mass. It's very common. We're Orthodox, Christian Orthodox, we walk around the church with big crosses and represent for Jesus. Throw a couple sidekicks in there. And before we left for mass, it was probably around 11:30, 11, and my parents said, "Go wake up your grandma, Bo. She needs to be ready. She's taking a nap so she wouldn't be tired. I went upstairs and I had these nice new speakers I had gotten not too long before. I put on one of her favorite songs, this Romanian classic called Pușca și Cureaua Lată, right? It's called The Gun and the Long Belt. So I play it probably about as loud as anything I could. And after about a minute or two, my grandma just slowly patters out of her room and she's looking up like she's just been dazed or something, I'm figuring maybe she just woke up, she's not all the way there yet. It's fine, whatever. No. I turn the music off and I'm like, hey, what's up? You ready to go to church? My grandma comes in, she says, oh my God, Bibi. I thought I was dead. I thought I was dead. It was all black. It was darkness in every direction. I open my eyes and I see nothing. But I hear this song from my childhood. I'm thinking, what the fuck? I'm in America. I don't know what's happening. I hear Pușca și Cureaua Lată. What the fuck? So I got up and I started walking and I found the door. I saw it and now this. What the hell? This time I'm rolling. I'm on the floor laughing. I said, what? I was trying to play a song that you would know, something you like to get you upright, She said, please don't ever do that again. I was very close to doing some things. So I learned not to scare her. Although I did, that became one of my favorite pastimes because not realizing it till much later, I now realized she has shell shock. So anytime a door would close too hard and she wouldn't have, seen the door open, or she didn't see you walk in and you'd be like, hi, how are you, Graham? Anything. Shoot, oh my God, oh shit. And I thought that was hilarious. To me, that was pure comedy, seeing my grandma jump and get on edge. Looking back on it, I kind of can put together that it could be a little trauma from the Americans bombing them. But again, it was great. I look back on those times fondly. She didn't have a problem with it. And it's just a good Christmas memory now. A lot of these things that you put together or you look back on, reflect on your Christmas memories, they're actually all very bad. You might have done something bad. There might have been a fight going on you didn't know about. It's a lot. But at the end of the day, you put it together that's kind of what Christmas is. You have a couple Christmases where you're just by yourself. Nobody can ruin this Christmas. You buy yourself whatever you want. You've got the wine, you've got your pills, you've got your weed, you've got whatever the fuck. And you're in your solo apartment, just you and the wife, you and whatever, bacheloring it up. You realize it's not Christmas. You have a great Christmas by yourself and you're like, well, you kind of miss it. So I'm a big proponent of the best days are yet to come, but you gotta look back on it fondly too. You gotta make the best out of what you got. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's what we do. Onward. So, one year for Christmas. Christmas happens to be one of my best friends, Joey, and one of our mutual friends, Biggie's, birthdays. So, for that year, we had decided, let's do something together for Christmas, right? We'll be back by Christmas Day to spend it with our families. The birthdays are all lining up. My birthday's like a week after Christmas. So we figured let's trio it up and let's do something. At the time, our friend Shane was living in Reno, Nevada, and he had a house with a couple other guys, and we called them and let them know we're coming up. So we pack the car, pack the kids, pack the dog, pack everything, and we get up to Reno. Fast drive in, super smooth. We got to Reno, and as soon as we get to Reno, the boys are ready. I mean, you open the door, they've got 36 packs, whatever packs of Coors, Racks, 40s, they got weed, they got anything you can imagine. Now, what was odd to me at the time, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's regular. I'd never experienced it. I've still never experienced anything of that nature. The boys, they were probably around college age, right? They were all working regularly and they had money. So, as young men do, they also had drugs. Now, they had a scale in the middle of the room, and the scale would just sit there, open, on, all day, 24/7. I thought, that's weird. Maybe it just never goes off. They don't care, whatever. Maybe they're selling something, trying to make their money back, recoup the losses. I couldn't call it. Then I realized later in the night, anytime these guys would do anything, and I mean anything, they would weigh it up first. I'm not feeling the mushrooms. I'm not feeling the mushrooms just yet. Like, maybe I didn't take enough. It's been 30 minutes. I'm going to take another 0.7. And then they would go up to the scale and they would weigh out an exact amount. 0.7, boom. Okay, now we're going to do a 0.2 of cocaine. Now we're going to do a 0.5 of marijuana. Now we're going to do a 0.1. What the fuck? That was like, it was like a meth cook had stepped into like an industrial grade chemist's laboratory. It was next level. I had no idea what they were doing, and it seemed a little crazy to me. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Still think about it like, what the hell? Later that night, we decided we should go to the strip club. It's a birthday party. Why not? So I think about 4 or 5 of us had got together. Biggie couldn't come because his girlfriend wasn't there, and he knew that she would try to dig anything that happened that night out of me one way or another and never let him live it down, even if she found out about it, 10 years later almost, So Biggie stayed home with a few of the guys. Me and Joe decided, let's go. Why not? It's a birthday bash. So we go to the strip club, and as soon as we walk in, half the strippers already know our friends. They're like, oh, hey, Shane, Miggy, Nico, what's up? Oh, my God, how y'all doing? Did you guys ever get the dog fixed? Like, personal questions, These ladies aren't just trying to keep the attention or anything. It's like they're old friends, and they came in. And now, I know they weren't old friends. I went to high school with most of these guys, so it was a new kind of relationship between stripper and man for me. Up until that point, I had only ever known girls I went to high school with that had ended up becoming strippers, and their boyfriends would be like a fake little boyfriend pimp, and the girls would try to give them money so they didn't feel bad that they were on random dicks all night. Whatever. Not my bag. Never was my bag. Although I would have loved the money, I would have accepted it too. If you still hear me, Alicia, pay up. You know, we have fun. Point is, we get to the strip club. Me and Joe are looking like, what the fuck? Joey's on some mushrooms. He's not fucking with anybody. He's looking at every stripper like he can smell the grease and dirt on them. And I kind of could too, but I liked that. So joke was on them. We're all chilling. Some of the girls that knew the guys are dancing around us, telling their friends, oh, hey, it's these guys' birthday. They brought their friends. Da-da-da-da-da. And as we're waiting for something to happen, I guess, this tiny Asian lady walks by in like lingerie. And she must have been 5 feet tall at most. She walks by, she looks at everyone, and like we lock eyes for a second. I'm like, oh, look away. You know, if you look at them in the eyes too long, they'll steal your soul, like a Native American with a camera. So I look away, and before I can even like look away all the way, she's like right up in my face, and she grabs the back of the chair I'm sitting in and pulls me away like 30 feet from the guys. Mustered all her little strength up. I'm like, oh. And she like picks me up, she like pulls my hand to get me out of the chair and walks me over to a couch where it's just me and her. And I'm like I sit on the couch, I sit back, and she like gets like to the left, like under my arm a little bit. And somehow she had like wig-whammed her way in so deep under my left arm that her whole body, like legs and everything, her like knees were over my like knee laying down. Her like chest and body were like on my chest and body. She wasn't really touching the couch like at all. And she was like completely on my body. And she's like whispering in my ear, hey, I thought you were really attractive. And I know that I'm not supposed to be doing this or like, you know, giving you any free time. But oh my God, the things I would do to you would be frowned upon in any religion. I look at her, I'm like, okay. So what are we going to do about it? And she's like, oh no, if you've got some money, we could do a lot about it. Like, she was clearly fishing. I was like, oh no, I know it's my birthday right now, but I didn't bring any money because it's my birthday. Like, maybe if you ask the guys, they'll throw you something, you know, but I'm kind of just here. And she goes, oh, no, it's okay. It's fine. I didn't expect you to or anything, but they're going to come and grab me if they see me, you know, not getting any money or not actually striking a deal for too long. So I'm just going to keep pretending like I'm trying to convince you to give me some money and whisper in your ear like this. At this point, I'm like, this bitch is crazy. She gets up, she leaves. I get back to my chair and the guys are like, are you good? What was that about? Yeah, I'm fine. Pretend not to remember anything, you know, try to forget it happened. And then the biggest lady in the club walks by. She has glasses on. Now, I wear glasses too, just for a frame of reference. Soon as Joey sees her, his eyes light up. They turn into like big fucking diamonds, and his head became like a cartoon wolf's howling for money or ass. She walks over to him. He whispers something in her ear. And then she locks eyes with me. I'm like, oh no, what the fuck? She walks over to me and she says, your friend said it's your birthday today and he's paying. After she said that, Joey handed her a $5 bill. And this woman in Reno, Nevada, I forget the name of the club, worked her soul off for that $5. I don't know if she just, you know, liked the vibe, if she felt the aura coming off some real ones. But She threw her legs around my neck. She spun around the whole fucking stage and onto like my chair and legs and up around, and then threw her titties in my face and took her glasses off and put my glasses on her and her glasses on me. It was crazy. Needless to say, I got hard. I'm looking around. I don't like this. I'm here with 5 of my friends. I don't like random women making me hard around people I respect. This is not the time nor the place. So I kind of like smile it off. I'm like, yeah, cool. And I look at the guys like it's time to leave. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, it's good. The girls are coming to party with us. Fuck. So we get home, and this big beluga-backed bitch is following me around like something that follows something around. It's a party at the house now. They invited a bunch of the strippers, a bunch of their college friends, a bunch of other friends we knew that lived in the area now. And there's like 20, 30 people running up and down and around the whole house. And I got fucking Shamu blocking me. Anybody looking my way. Any girl trying to, oh, hey, he's kind of, nope. So I locked myself in a room. I smoked like 15 blunts with Shamu. And we got on. The next morning, we're like, all right, well, let's get back home. Let's have some fun when we get home. We don't want to get home too late, end up just going to sleep. So let's leave early. Now, I forget why, but me, Joey, and our friend Shane, whose house it was, drove back. And Shane wanted a ride back, so he came with us, And as soon as we get past the border of Nevada and into California, we hit probably the most insane blizzard I have ever witnessed. I mean, the entire road was ice. And right after the border, it's like a hill you go down, and around the mountain you're going like out of Tahoe, essentially. It was so icy that every car started sliding. I mean, I don't care if you had 4-wheel drive. I don't care if you had 8 tires. We were sliding. It was backed up traffic. Nobody was moving because I imagine they were all scared to move. So Shane found a movie on Netflix. I think it was Django Unchained, now that I remember it. You know, very on brand for what was happening and what we were about to go through. And we start shimmying our way down the mountain. Now, at this point, we couldn't move in the line that we were in, so we decide we should probably switch lanes and then just switch back in once we get to a point that we pass the car that's not moving. The problem was every other lane had no cars on it for probably the last hour or two, and it was even more ice. So as soon as we switch lanes, Joey's like, oh God, oh shit. And the wheels like kind of slipping and sliding. So we had to shimmy our way down the mountain. And mind you, we're barely sliding straight, keeping the car level. We see a minivan on our left. It's a minivan, full family, some Latino people. They look at us, they're waving, but they're literally they're ice skating past us. The back of their car's doing a little tail left and right. The dad's basically just trying to swivel and swerve it into not spin completely back around. And we're like, oh, let's hope that's not us at any point. And that almost became us less than 5 minutes later. The car starts swiveling, swerving left and right. And we decide, okay, slow. We get it back into like a little straight line formation. And the car just tilting forward a few feet at a time. And we get back in the line. It took us 8 hours to do what is probably a 2-hour drive without snow. 8 hours. I swore after that trip I would never go to the snow while it was snowing again. I would only visit Aspen and places with snow in the summer. But I didn't. Probably a year or two after that, I went up to Lake Tahoe with my family around Christmas. And I think the second or third day that we were out there, we wanted to go into Heavenly's shopping area. Heavenly has like, I forget what it's called, but where the resort is for Heavenly in Lake Tahoe at State Line, Nevada. They have like a village, Heavenly Village, and it's a bunch of little shopping, ice skating, movie theaters, and like the slopes. I wanted to go snowboarding. I love snowboarding. I was really into it at the time. I had been recently. I was ready. Or I thought I was. And boy, was I right. So I tell my family, they all want to go to the village. I think my sister might want to snowboard or, at least bring some skis out with me. No. Fuck no. They were instant. As soon as I brought it up, they said, oh, I mean, yeah, no, please, snowboard. It's awesome. It's so cool. But we're not getting anywhere near those slopes. We'll pay for you to go. We'll rent you anything you need. Have fun. I think fine. I'll show them. I'll have fun and be the coolest. I go up. I keep going up and up and up, and there's a ski lift after you get to like the top. It's not the top of the mountain because there's one to the half, and then you get on the last ski lift to the top of the mountain. Now at the bottom, it was kind of snowing. It was, just a nice drizzle of snow, essentially. I get to the very top, and as we're climbing up to the top, like every few seconds, you can see less of anything around you. The trees are just being blanketed in a white wind. And the guy who's next to me on the lift is like, oh, wow, looks like a whiteout. I had never heard the term whiteout. When he said that, I pictured fucking whiteout, the little like white paste shit that you would put on a piece of paper when you fucked up in pen. So we get to the top, and I mean, this was beyond a blizzard, folks. This was a shitstorm. This was the winds of shit making a shit blizzard. You couldn't see more than 5 feet in front of you. My dumbass at the time was thinking, it's fine. They wouldn't just let us go if it was this bad. Why would they let random snowboarders and travelers and tourists kill themselves on a mountain? Publicity. That would bring publicity. Disaster tourism is at an all-time high. If I died that day, random 16-year-old Romanian child dies in blizzard of hypothermia. It would probably bring more people out the next weekend. I mean, shit, Romanians would hear and be like, I could do that. Nah, come on, we got to prove this wrong. It was so bad. I didn't even know which way I was going. I thought, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to go down the hill, I'm going to get to the next lift, that middle lift, and I'm going to ride the middle lift all the way down, call it a day, whatever. Wait for the storm or just, work the bunny slopes. Even if it's storming, those won't be bad. I get up, I start sliding down, I'm shredding. I'm like, oh yeah, I got my music going in my ears. I think I was playing like Money to Blow by Young Money at the time on repeat and like Skrillex Weekends. So not 5 seconds of me shredding down the mountain, I stopped being on powder. The ground beneath me is no longer dirt, I could tell. And I'm sliding down like a 45-degree angled giant slab of mountain, just pure rock. And I am sliding like I have never slid before. I don't think I had ever even ridden or attempted to ride a black diamond or a double black diamond yet. This was like a double black without any of like the little slopes that the skiers carve into the little mounds that you can stop on and chill as a novice. I was flying down a slab of what looked like iced granite. And my only thought at the time was stay up. I don't want to slide and end up scraping my whole body, fucking something up. And then when I get to the bottom of this, I can't move. Fuck. My other thought was, I hope I'm not about to fall off the side of the mountain. I don't want to get to the bottom of this and then fall or, as soon as I touch off the rock, it's just 5 feet of snow and I end up way too deep to pull myself out and I die of hypothermia. So I'm using any ounce of skill I had at the time to keep myself balanced and going left, right, swivel, slow, just trying to keep the speed steady till I get to the bottom. When I get to the bottom, luckily I don't think I was on the back of the mountain. It leveled off and I had no slope anymore. I had to take my snowboard off, pick it up and hike. I start hiking down towards, I don't know, what I felt was the right direction, I guess. And I see a couple and it's just a guy and his girlfriend and they're walking through and I'm just like, oh my God, thank Jesus, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Even if we're all stuck, even if we don't find a way out of here or back to the bottom in time, at least I won't be the one to die alone. Worst case scenario, at the time I was very into the Donner Party and the pilgrimage from the east to the west coast. So in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, I don't know these people. These people don't know me. Nobody knows that we even know each other. So worst case scenario, maybe I can eat one. I'm kidding. I don't know what would have happened in a cannibalistic situation. But I felt pretty confident that we'd be more able to find our way out as a group at least. So they looked even more confused than I was. They're like, oh my God, this is insane. Can you believe this? And I'm like, yeah, some guy, when I got off the lift, was talking about, it seems like a whiteout. Whiteout. I didn't know what he was talking about. I guess this is what a fucking whiteout is, where you literally can't see anything besides white. This is what people describe fucking 5-MeO DMT as. When you break through, you just see a white light for a little while. It's kind of what it was like, except luckily I had some snowboarding goggles on, so I wasn't being blinded. I think we were hiking in random directions for at least 30, 45 minutes until we found, like, we were up on, like, the side between some trees, and we started, like, following the hill, basically, and we ended up on what seemed to be a carved path that was still completely flat. We had to walk it, but luckily, it did lead us back to that middle point. Although, when we got to the middle lift, some fucking douche was there about to ride down too, talking about the lift's closed. White out. Fuck you, Tim. No fucking shit, it's a fucking white out. What do you mean the lift is closed? At that point, I think I was like 15, 16. I'm looking at him like, if there's a whiteout, they should be taking us down, right? No, the wind alone from the wind from the storm alone would have tilted the lift, so we'd just be like hanging forward while the lift's trying to take us down. It would have caused more damage and accidents than it could have helped. But I guess it wasn't so bad that they would bring up, some sort of snowmobile or something to help us guide us back down, pull us, something. Nope. And the point that we were at on the mountain, where the lift was, if you don't come in from a higher point and basically skip the lift and keep sliding down, it's just all flat for like at least a quarter mile. And you've got to basically kick push yourself like skateboard style. 1 foot in. The people with skis, oh my God, did I wish I had skis in that moment. The people with skis were they were just sliding right past us because they got 2 little sticks. They're pushing themselves past. Us snowboarding dum-dums were just over there momoed out. Push, kick, push, get my foot back on, slide a little bit, push, get my foot back on, slide a little bit. So within like 10 minutes, my whole body is drenched through the snow clothes, through the fucking everything. I think it took me like probably at least an hour and a half from that middle point to get back down to the bottom. And when I got back down to the bottom, I think I had only been up there for like a total of 2 hours. Everybody, and I mean every single person in the little lodge that I got into when I got to the bottom. First of all, there was nobody left outside. When we got into the lodge, every single person's looking at anybody walking like, oh, where'd you come from? Oh my God, you're covered in snow. Whoa, what's happening? There's a whiteout out there. Were you up there? And me and I think it was just me and the 2 people. There might have been a few other people who made it from like opposite sides of the mountain at the same time, because I remember a few people walking in with me, and we're just like, yeah, yup, don't go out in a whiteout. I'm talking to some like ski instructor, like, yeah, this guy said whiteout. I didn't know which way to go. Nobody was there to help us. And the guy who worked for the company, for the ski company, was like, yeah, there's nothing they can really do for you at that point. You're pretty much out there for yourself. Wow. I wish I would have known. I mean, shit. But I was good. My family was actually mad. They're like, oh, what the fuck? We paid over $100 for you. We weren't doing too great at the time. We paid over $100 for you to go snowboarding, and not 2-3 hours later, you're calling us to come pick you up? Come on. Jesus. Like I was in the wrong. I had done something. But, I guess maybe I should have manned up and gotten back out there, even though I don't think they were going to let anybody go out until the storm had stopped, or the blizzard. Yeah. Although I did go back, I'm pretty sure if not the next year, like a month or 2 later, and I will not go to Heavenly. If I have any choice in where to snowboard, don't go to Heavenly. You've got so many great options. Sierra, Sugar Bowl, shit, Boreal's even all right if you're up in the area. I love them. Heavenly is by far my last choice. It's one of the biggest. It's one of the most powdery and, pompous asshole fucking places you could ever be, but not if I have any other option. Moving forward, one year, my cousin had gotten a house. So when I moved from Romania to America, we moved in with my cousin Flo and his mom. They were my mom's second cousins, and we lived 9 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor in a little city called Walnut Creek in California. We didn't have much, we didn't come from much, so we didn't know much. Now, a few years ago, my cousin had his first house. He was loving it. It was big. And the front of the house, it was a 2-story house, but when you come in through the front entrance, it's got a huge front entrance because that part of the entryway wasn't lofted. There's no second floor right when you walk in. It's like a 20-foot ceiling or something crazy. Now, my cousin was working for Google Photography at the time, and he had been making a little money. And he was like, I want to have a real Christmas, no expense spared. I'm going to buy all the best possible ingredients for food. We're going to have awesome Christmas food, awesome everything. Great. He ended up buying the city of Walnut Creek's Christmas tree that year. Not the tree they were destined to buy. He called the company that was selling them their tree. He found out where cities get their trees, found the one that was going to Walnut Creek, and put a bid on it that was higher than Walnut Creek's. The city of Walnut Creek had to move their Christmas tree lighting a week or two, which is usually the first Friday of December. They had to wait till the 3rd Friday of December. They had their tree up a week before it was Christmas because my cousin bought their tree, and probably some poor lumberjack had to go and find another one. The tree was so big that it was thick. It wasn't just a tall tree. It took up a quarter of the entire entryway. Everybody took their Christmas card pictures in front of it that year. We still keep those Christmas card pictures. Some people send them around, I thought it was grossly overdone. There are so many children, Flo. What were you thinking? All those kids were planning their Christmas tree lighting fit. They were getting ready to go out and take pictures with their family in front of the tree. I guarantee you, a few families didn't get a Christmas card that year because they were waiting to take it in front of the tree at the lighting. It's fine. It's what we do. Again, I forgot to mention this with the last story, but overall, a great memory. I look back on it with fondness. Good times. That's what Christmas is about. Unwind. Make some good times. Try to chill on the wine. Alky. Drunk. You need a sip before you can go dip in the hot tub with your family. So I asked my parents if they had any good Christmas stories because I had been running through some in my head and I wanted to know, what I could talk about. And the only one they could bring up was In the early 90s, mid-90s, I guess, Tamagotchi was very popular. It was the new thing. It was like Game Boy before Game Boy. It was something for the kids to play on. Handheld. And my sister really wanted a Tamagotchi. So my sister got a Tamagotchi. And they didn't know how to set the toy up. It's like a Japanese toy that all the writing on was written in English. Somehow they made it to Romania, and my sister had one. As soon as she got it, she opens it, starts playing with it, yada yada. 3 a.m. The fucking thing is beeping out of control. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody even knows what it is at first. My dad gets up and he goes over to the Tamagotchi and he looks at the thing. He turns the light on and it's showing like a bottle of milk and like the Tamagotchi like crying. My dad's like, what the fuck? Do I have to nurse this thing? I don't got milk. So he threw it out in the fucking snow. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to swear. It was a crime of passion. But he threw it out in the snow, and then he just pretended nothing happened. My sister got up. Where's my Tamagotchi? What's going on? I can't find him. He said, I don't know. I heard him crying in the middle of the night. I tried to get up and feed him. I guess he's gone. Maybe he left because you couldn't feed it. Blame her, blame the child. Good parenting 101. Blame the child. Because they don't know if it's their fault or not. How could they? They're learning from you. So putting the blame on them will buy you more time. That's what this is about. You got to in situations like that, you got to buy yourself time to put it together. And we did. She went outside. She ended up finding her Tamagotchi under a pile of snow that had melted. She's like, oh my God, he made it to the yard. Yeah, I guess he must have got too hungry and tried to go outside and feed himself. Okay, I know that one wasn't that funny, but that was a personal one. Some of them are for you. Some of them are for me. Another Christmas in Romania. My dad had been making money that year. It was, communism in Romania at the time, and not many people had any sort of anything to watch. There was 2 channels on TV, and I'm pretty sure they only ran for 2 hours a day. One was the communist channel, the propaganda channel. You go on and you see made up stories about Hitler and Ceausescu as little boys making love in the playground and smoking weed, and that being the catalyst to make them hate the Jews. That sort of stuff. Nobody in country liked or appreciated the content. The content that their party was making for them. It's your party. They're making this for you. And you can't even appreciate it for a second. I had to let that sit. So, at the time, everybody had a TV. Nobody had anything to watch. VCRs had recently been the new thing. Everybody got one. But you'd be lucky if you could get a VHS a year, And the VHSs we did get were usually through Bulgaria or from Greece, and they were usually all still in Greek or Bulgarian. If you got lucky, you could get something that was subtitled. I forget the lady's name, but there was some lady in Romania who subtitled like 1,000 movies so Romanian people could kind of find a way to enjoy them and understand them. But that was the bag. And at that time, around one Christmas, my dad supplied the entire Christmas, put food on the table, clothes on our backs by renting out Scarface and Rocky. Rocky was a hit. Back then, Rocky was so big in Romania, worldwide probably, but when it hit Romania, my dad said you would drive around downtown and you would just see guys who had never left their house, guys who hadn't left the yard and like their mom's chickens in like 15 years. All of a sudden, they had the gray sweatsuit. They were in the fucking hoodie. They had their knuckles taped up like they were going to put gloves on, and they were running up the stairs at the Capitol building. They would run up the Parliament stairs and back down and then run back home. They were fucking doing exercises on the old like Soviet fucking playground equipment that was left around the block apartments. It was a time. And when Scarface hit, there was no cocaine. But there was the essence of cocaine in the air. You know, everybody was just drinking and smoking cigarettes and hyping each other up and trying to start businesses they would never actually actuate. It was basically the same vibe as Scarface. Just cocaine would have probably made them move twice as fast. Like, I don't think adding cocaine to that situation would have or even did anything when it came around later, but just speed the process of everything going on up. So Scarface and Rocky, everybody felt like they needed to see. Even if you didn't ever see a commercial, even if you hadn't so much as heard of the movies, as soon as you would bring up Scarface or Rocky around someone, it's like it was already in the ether, you know? People would be like, oh, what? I don't know, that sounds like something I should be seeing, you know? And my dad would go house to house. If there was, sometimes it was his friends. So, you know, you'd line up a couple, like you're making a schedule. You'd pull up to somebody's house and you'd set up the party, basically. They'd have like a whole barbecue. It was like a Super Bowl type event. Food, drink, smoke, everything, you know, the pharmacy getting robbed, whatever. And they would put the movie on and everybody would like close the blinds, you know, you didn't want the communists finding out or any snitches. And they would watch the movie and boy, they would just talk about it for like days, weeks, months after they lived off the inspiration and, you know, the passion they were pretty much manufacturing themselves off watching that movie. It's a beautiful thing. And that year, my dad made enough money. I think he bought a car too. I'm pretty sure he said he bought a car off that. But he had rented them out to like a bunch of people. And they were passing the movies around and he would go like house to house when they were having the parties and collect. Like, hey. And they'd be like, oh, that's the guy. Give him $10. Or, you know, the guy who rented the tape would give you enough and then they would invite you to the party. People would still be trying to tip you and just like show love. It was a different time. It was a better time. So, in conclusion, I know we've already went long. We haven't even read a single topic. It's not all love and joy on Christmas, you know. Maybe it is, you know. I guess it depends how you look at it. But real quick, I'm going to run through some topics, some stories that caught my eye. I haven't read anything on them but the headline yet. So first up, suspect arrested in the killing of a woman who was set on fire on a New York City subway car. Wow. I mean, wow, folks. A woman set on fire. Merry Christmas. Shut up the hand. Come on, it's Christmas. New York police have arrested a suspect accused of killing a female subway passenger by setting her on fire Sunday morning. According to police, around 7:30 a.m., the suspect approached the victim on a train car and intentionally set her on fire before fleeing from the scene. The suspect and the victim were both riding an F train to the end of the line at Stillwell Avenue in Brooklyn. Till the end of the line. Boy, that's grim, isn't it? Police believe the suspect used a lighter to ignite the victim's clothing, which became fully engulfed in a matter of seconds, Tish said. What were her clothes made out of? Gasoline? A matter of seconds? Police officers conducting a routine patrol at the station encountered the victim on fire inside a subway car. Officials extinguished the fire and EMS responded, pronouncing the female dead. Unbeknownst to the officers who responded, the suspect had stayed on the scene and was seated on a bench on the platform just outside the train car. The body-worn cameras on the officers produced a very clear, detailed look at the killer. I mean, he was watching his log burn, am I right, or what? Jesus Christ. She noted the suspect appeared calm when he initially approached the victim. Police believe the victim was sleeping at the time of the attack, while it's now unclear. Officers located and arrested the suspect on another train in Midtown Manhattan without incident. He was found with a lighter in his pocket. Fuck. Well, what can you do? All I can say is I wish the families and those affected, the families of the victim and those affected by this incident, well. Oklahoma executes man who killed 10-year-old girl during cannibalistic fantasy. Roll up the Harley. Jesus Christ, people. Christmas is also another day. A death row inmate in Oklahoma received a lethal injection Thursday morning in the nation's 25th and final execution this year. Kevin Ray Underwood was sentenced to die for the killing of 10-year-old Jamie Rose Boland in 2006. Underwood, a former grocery store worker, turned 45 on the day he was executed. What did he do? Fuck that guy, bro. Come on. Alabama executed 6 people. As Underwood's execution began, he looked over. 3 drugs, blah, blah, blah. He apologized for all the terrible things I did, end quote. Horrible. He said the decision to execute me on my birthday and 6 days before Christmas was a needlessly cruel thing to do to my family. But I'm very sorry for what I did, and I wish I could take it back. Sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. What the fuck? I don't know where he gets the balls. You know? Underwood admitted to luring Jamie into his apartment and beating her over the head with a cutting board before suffocating and sexually assaulting her. He told investigators that he nearly beheaded the girl in his bathtub before abandoning his plan to eat her. Is this Armie Hammer's uncle? What the hell? Boleyn's sister, Lori Patay, who was among several relatives who witnessed the execution, thanked prosecutors for helping. This doesn't bring our Jamie back, but it does allow the space in our hearts to focus on her and allow the healing process to begin, Patay said. Jesus Christ. Happy birthday. Okay. Our final story of the episode. Boy 8 saves classmate with Heimlich maneuver. Just kidding. There's so many other things. Children executed and women R-worded in front of their families as M23 militia unleashes fresh terror on Democratic Republic of Congo. They were looking for new ways to kill, ways to send fresh terror across North Kivu. It was early afternoon when the M23 militia raided the Congolese town of Rubaya. In a marketplace, gunmen found a giant wooden pestle and mortar for crushing grain. They began rounding up children, wedging them tight in the mortar. Isabel, 32, watched the rebels stove their skulls. The mortar turned red. 6 children, said Isabel, were pummeled to death on April 4th, 2024. It was terrible. She fled with 2 friends among the rainforests of the east. Armed men had caught them. Isabel and her friend were R-worded. The other friend was executed. Her account is among new testimony of fresh M23 atrocities obtained by The Observer. Well done, The Observer. Like, I get you're raising awareness, but these companies have millions. Donate, use 1 million to fund finding and arming a militia against M23 so we can stop this. Or, funding a militia to protect these Congolese towns. Jesus Christ, they act like it's fucking Elon Musk level science. They detail indiscriminate killing, torture, and mass abductions at gunpoint in front of their children. Others pinned down on main roads and attacked in broad daylight. Their collective testimony on ongoing calamity that humanitarians hoped might never happen. The DRC, long synonymous with supercharged levels of violence, has entered a bleak new chapter. Crime rates are far higher than ever recorded, but the rebels largely responsible cannot be categorized along the scores of militia roaming North Kivu. This is the world, people. That's all I'm trying to say. You have a lot to be grateful for. You have a lot to be thankful for. Don't kill yourself. Don't hurt yourself. Suicide is never the answer. There's always a better way. And there's always something to be grateful for. Enjoy Christmas. Hug your loved ones. Hug yourself. Be thankful that you have life. Be thankful that you can do whatever silly little things you enjoy doing. And let's put it together another week in this crazy, cucked up world. Merry Christmas. Goodbye. Check out all my music at BB Angel on YouTube and every streaming platform except Apple and iTunes. I think we might still be Bajabo, Bajabo on iTunes for some reason. It hasn't changed that for me yet, but I'm also Bajabo on Instagram, but it's BB Angel on everything else, and Church with Bo on YouTube for the page to find this podcast. Thank you so much. We are looking for sponsors and advertisers. Good night.